Oh man, I got this piece of wood from IKEA, but I don't really know what it does. Like, I don't even know where to put it or what to do. But it's like it's nice though, right? Like
Yeah, that's some nice wood you got there, Peach.
it's smooth, like it's cool looking, but like
Yeah.
what does it do? Where should I put this thing? Like
Yeah. Where
where
might
does
you lay
one
that?
put his yeah,
Yeah.
where?
Well, I mean, I think that's between you and the wood, honestly. I don't think you need to
Yeah, I mean,
talk
it's
to
a
any.
little too it doesn't really fit in my pants. It's a little too big for that.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
a
don't know. I
that's
guess
a common problem.
maybe I just have to leave it out. I don't know.
That could get you in trouble though if
But
you leave the wood out.
it's got these little things in it so you can kind of display.
Oh, you can you
You
can
can
put things on your wood.
put things in it.
Yeah. Oh, you can put
Yeah.
things. Oh, that's interesting. That's different than most wood. I think it's unique. You've
Yeah,
got
you
some
can
unique
probably
wood, man. It's very
put
nice
it
wood
in.
that you have there. Yeah.
You could probably put it in like does it fit in there? It fits in
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Maybe that's where I'll put it. It's really between me. It's my wood. I'll put it where I want.
Welcome everybody to Court Cousins episode 55. My name is Kyle. I'm joined as always by my dashing, my daring, my Dallas cousin, Jason the Peach. He's got the pillow to prove it, ladies and gentlemen. I have the For our listeners, I am in the Wizard Stoom, and I'm ready to talk about our Orlando Magic. We've got a abracadabra, razzmatazz type of show for you, ladies and gentlemen. Gonna check in with each other for the psychological check-in. We'll go around the interwebs in the social media roundup talking about Paolo, the offense, the defense, the new uniforms, Dwight Howard, and much more. We'll do a little fact or fiction, and don't go anywhere. You scallywags, you magical scoundrels, stick around for the large ending. And as we mentioned on the last show, we're making some amendments to the Patreon. Haven't really talked to you about this piece actually, so we're just going off the top. But I think we're just, it's suspended for this month, just kind of regrouping. I think next month we will reinstate it, but just kind of draw back what we're doing there. We'll still be interacting once in a while, but it would be a help to get, we've got probably about $80-$90 of regular monthly expenses for the show with Podbean, with our digital design software, with the software I'm using right now, Ecamm, to put everything together and transition from image to image, all that stuff. So the help is much appreciated. We are going to draw back our commitments, but we still love and appreciate everyone there on the Patreon who may say, hey, I got a little extra chink in my pocket right now. I'll throw it to the cousins' way and let them do some magic content with it. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, think of yourselves as like an A cup bra, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't really need to do a lot of work, but we appreciate the support and it helps. So every little bit's there, right? We're not asking you. You're not a D bra. We're not looking for you to really haul some weight. Just looking for a little help. That's all, and we appreciate it.
Just a little help with our little bits. That's all. Just a little help with our little bits. And I still am going to shout out all the All-Stars and Second Cousins tier on the Patreon. So shout out to our boys and girls, I think mostly just men, except probably Nadra. Magic Player History, Bolby the Don, Paulo and Franz's Warmth, Andy, Dylan Holden, Drum, Raphael, Breadhead, Matthew Bell, Dan Young, Gloria and Damien, Connor and Yachty.
Steve Rick.
Very fitting. Very fitting,
Very
Peach.
fitting, man. Go and take it. Rangers playing Game 5 right now. Right now, as we record.
Are you even able to watch it, though, or no because of our internet snafus?
You know I can't. I had it on, but because of the internet, it was too much of a draw. So I'm just going to have to catch up when we're done.
Okay, well, we'll hope for a good outcome for the Rangers for you, sir. Let's get into it, Peach. It's been a while. I know you've been busy. We've been missing each other. How are you doing, sir, for the psychological check-in?
Well, I've selected this new picture of Cole Anthony being extended. He's got the point. He's pointing down the camera. You know, I love to point, and every time I point out that I love pointing, it reminds me that I need to point more. And I love that Cole's pointing at the camera. He's made his point. He waited. The Magic made their point by keeping him. We'll talk about that later. But for me, I feel extended because I've been doing a lot of stuff. My dad was in town recently. When you have someone in town, you kind of get out of your regular routine, right? And then like he was buying all this food, some of it that I eat, some of it that I don't. And it's you're just kind of like this past week, I just kind of like was getting back into my regular routine, but then I've had to wake up earlier and I'm covering for a guy that we sent off to a class. So like I've been doing like 7 to 5, sometimes 7 to 6. Tonight I've got a hockey game after we do this, then got to get back up for 7. So I'm feeling pretty extended. Also trying to go to Stars games when they're home and watching the World Series. I fell asleep during the game last night. I just passed out. So yeah, I'm feeling extended. I've been doing a lot of stuff, but it's not too much, you know, it's just enough to keep me going. I know that it's only going to be things should quiet down a little bit once this weekend hits. So then I can get some rest. So that's how I'm doing. How are you feeling for the psychological check-in? You had a big weekend, eh?
I have a photo of Cole Anthony coming in. I guess this is the Gengar Pokemon. It's been a while since I've gone back, but he dressed up as Gengar. He's coming in with Jonathan Isaac, but that's not really important. I'm not injured. Don't worry about it.
I dressed up as God. Look at him.
I picked this one where Cole is dressed up in a costume, Peesh, because I've been wearing a lot of different stooms lately. I think this is kind of similar to maybe how you're feeling with the use of the extension word. Did your extension come with $39 million, by the way?
Oh, it so didn't.
Okay, damn it. Because I thought we really hit the money there for a second. My Cole Anthony is in a costume because I've been wearing a lot of different hats and a lot of different costumes, as you can see. As you alluded to, the weekend was crazy, man. I had family in. Nadra and I got married in the Islamic faith. So that has occurred under God, under Allah. So that's wonderful. But it's stressful. I was, playing the role of nephew, your pops and our aunt were in. I was playing the role of in-law with all of Nadra's family. I was playing the role of brother-in-law, brother. I did, you're the closest thing I got to a brother, but I guess I gained some new family. I got 2 new sisters and a brother. So I was playing that role. I was trying to make everyone happy and juggle all that stuff, which is just so freaking tiring at times, especially when you're bringing together kind of a clash of cultures. Our family's from Northern Vermont, Catholic background. My lady is from Syria. Our family's Muslim. So it's like, it's completely different than anything our family had ever experienced. So that was a lot. I felt some pressure there. Been, wearing the hat of teacher, of course, dressing up as a wizard and a Jedi at times. So like you said, man, I'm feeling a little bit exhausted from all of the different costumes that I've been wearing lately. And I know that's probably a feeling that some of you out there second cousins have. And I think what I've learned is I need to just wear the Kyle costume, kind of like what you were talking about. You're excited to chill this weekend, wear just the Jason costume, although that's different because there's a horror movie connotations with the Jason mask and all that. But yeah, I'm excited to just relax and be me and chill. It was nice after the ceremony. We went somewhere peaceful, just an Airbnb, so that was really cool. But yeah, man, too many stooms. Looking forward to some R&R, certainly.
Well, it sounds like it's well deserved, and I got to say, that guy Jason, he really messed things up for everybody with this name.
Yeah.
But I can't complain too much because I'm sure there's some Adolfs out there that had some complaints. So, sometimes the name gets ruined.
Hopefully not a lot of sense. You've got some real cojones if you're naming your child Adolf these days.
For sure. You're dumb.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's get right into the news through our social media roundup. This first one is what you were referencing, Cole Anthony extended. We have a post here from Orlando Magic HQ with an extensive quote here from Cole Anthony. Let me read it to you, ladies and gentlemen. Main reason I really wanted to get this deal done for me is, one, obviously I love it here, and I really think we could have a chance to build something. But for me, on a selfish side, play the game stress-free, do what I love, have fun, and just not have to worry about no looming contract, whatever that is. Just go out there, know I'm cool for a few more years, just hoop and have fun. I mean, we love us some Cole Anthony. Peach, what do you got there? You got a bag. You got a bag too.
Man. I got a bag of bags. I went to get my bag. He's got his bag.
Right.
You asked earlier how much. This is kind of what my bag was full of, just other bags. But still, you gotta love that the guy went and got that bag and waited it out. People talked about it all summer. What's gonna happen with Cole Anthony? Are we gonna do it? Are we not? And it was like most of us. I mean, we were in the camp of we're gonna keep him. Why not? Like, why is everybody questioning this? And so I'm glad it just kind of came to fruition early in the season. There's no worrying about it. It's just a done deal, and it gives him the chance to have a clear head and play and hoop. And he's been hooping, so I think it's worked.
Yeah.
What do you think of the contract? Do you have any thoughts on the way that shakes out? You like that?
I enjoy nutmeg and cinnamon.
I enjoy some Cole Anthony extension. I was also nervous. There it is. You're drinking right out of the Cole Anthony. I love it, Peach. I was worried about this going into the season because I was worried he'd ball out and command a much higher deal. I think a lot of us were really happy to see it come in at 3 years, $39 million, average annual value of about $13 million. And also that last year is a team option. So Jeff Weltman worked his magic. I assume we'll hopefully keep that last year, but it is essentially right around the non-taxpayer mid-level, which is $12.4 million, which was probably the starting point for the negotiations. That type of contract basically says, hey, we consider you a high-level rotation player. And I think that's fair for Cole Anthony. And because it's at that non-taxpayer mid-level exception, it's also a very tradable deal. A lot of teams could go in for that amount using their exceptions if down the road we wanted to trade this contract, which I'm not advocating for, but it's a very reasonable deal. So I think a lot of people would love to have a Cole Anthony at that rate, but we would too. So he's not going anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. It's that season. I'm loving myself some
I enjoy nutmeg and cinnamon.
And moving forward, it's really helpful to think about the machinations of how this is going to fit in to the larger picture. We have, next year or this offseason, Franz is going to be up for his extension. The season following, it's going to be Paolo Banchero, and then they're going to have to get inked to their, first deals after their rookie contracts. Now, those guys could qualify for the 25% of the cap max extension for a rookie. They also have the potential to qualify for the 30%. You can only qualify for that 30% max extension off of your rookie deal if one of these things happen. You are selected All-NBA in your first through third year or in your previous 2 seasons. So I'm sorry, I said that wrong. If you are selected All-NBA in your previous season or in 2 of the 3 previous seasons. So if you think that Franz Wagner is going to be a guy who, I believe he was probably going to be All-NBA, that's top 15 players in the eyes of the voters. He's got a shot at that in his 3rd year potentially. That would get him 30% of the Orlando Magic's salary cap. So that gets, and if Paulo does the same thing, then you've got 2 guys eating 50 to 60% of your salary cap. Why that becomes so important is bird rights. Larry Bird, it was so important to the NBA, and NBA wanted to give the frickin' Celtics whatever they wanted. They were going to lose their star. Oh no, we have to help the Celtics. We're the NBA. We got Celtics. We fucking love them. So they have the Bird exception, which allows teams to keep players that have been with them for 3 years for full bird rights, no matter what their salary cap situation is. And so it's great to see us inking players like Cole Anthony to this deal because he's a player whose full bird rights we have. So even if in the future when we're trying to challenge for deep playoff runs and we're exceeding the salary cap, we're getting into the luxury tax, we can still, if the DeVos family wants to put up the money, re-sign Cole Anthony and go into the tax apron, go into either first or second tax apron, and keep him. If he wasn't, a part of the team, you are more limited in who you can sign when you're over the certain tax thresholds. So I love that it's affordable. I think it's fair for Cole. Could he have gotten a little bit more if he held out? Yeah, but the man just wants the ball, and I respect the hell of that. So I'm really pumped to have Cole Anthony here for the next few years.
Yeah, full disclosure to everyone.
Yep.
Because of the way weird things are going while we're recording this show, I can't actually see Kyle. So if he made an inappropriate gesture, I can't sign off on it. I don't know what he's doing over there. I know he's got the sleeve of Wizard, but because I did see him once earlier when we were prepping, but now I got nothing but our logo over here on the right side. So I can't
I'm just
be held.
nude. I'm nude, Peach.
Yeah. Even if you're making a face while we're talking, I won't know. So just have fun over there, and I'll see you later.
Okay, all right. Let's go to our next topic in the social media roundup. We have some Paolo stats. This is from Wendell Epps, who's been covering at Epps_Wendell. He's been covering the team. It's his first year. I'm not sure what outlet he is. Let us know in the comments. He has a post here. Paolo's first 4 games of 22-23, 22.8 points, 7.5 boards, 1.5 blocks. Paolo's first 4 games of 23-24, 12.5 points, 5.3 rebounds, 0 blocks. Wendell writes, "It hasn't been an ideal start for the 2023 Rookie of the Year, but the final game of a West Coast swing is a great chance for Paolo to find some rhythm." And we should say we're recording this after the Clippers game. This is Wednesday evening right now, so it's prior to the Jazz. So anything that happens in that, we do not know. Peach, what's your level of concern here for our young star, Paolo Banchero?
It's a little concerning, but it is the beginning of his sophomore season. Some people have a full sophomore slump. I hope that's not what's happening. This is kind of like a collection of his worst games last year. You know, still somewhat effective, but the field goal percentage is just bad, and it's like, how can that improve? You'd like to hope that as the season goes on and he gets his legs underneath him and kind of, gets back into it, that he'll have more of those 22 and 23 point efforts going forward. Just needs to, tighten it up a little bit, right? Like he's still getting the touches and he's still doing that stuff, still getting to the free throw line, but you got to make those, you got to do those things. And right now it's just not there, but it's 4 games. So, I'm not putting up a white flag or even like a red flag. If it continues for another 4 games, then now I'm getting worried.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm definitely, I'm with you. I'm willing to give the young man a little bit more time, but I'm getting pissed about this. And this post is from Orlando Tragic, and he's got a meme. I'm not sure what movie this is from. Looks like some Pixar. It's just a sad young boy looking into the camera, and Magic Fan says Steve Kerr played Paolo out of position all summer. And I really think that is coming home to roost, man. Like, I don't think that can be understated in talking about the troubles that Paolo's been having. I know he also mentioned that that thumb injury which he got over the summer was still something he's feeling, although it's not wrapped or anything, so I don't think it's serious. I think more what's the issue is the young man was playing the center position all summer. He was an afterthought in Steve Kerr's offense. And he should be one of the main pillars of our offense. So if you're going to try to tell me out there in the comments, and please tell me, I'm just a moron with a microphone. Tell me I'm completely off base right now. But if you're trying to tell me that playing a completely different position that uses a much different skill set and not getting the reps at what we're asking Paolo to do on a night in and night out basis didn't affect him or isn't impacting what we're seeing in the beginning of this season, I'm going to go ahead and say I think you're freaking crazy, because we've seen how important an healthy offseason can be. We're going to talk about Jalen Suggs later, but he's a different player right now. You can see that he's been working on the skills that help him be an important cog in this team. And when I look at Paolo Banchero, he looks hesitant. He looks like he doesn't know where he's getting his shot. And I think that has to do with him playing, again, for Team USA, where there was no plays run for him. He wasn't looking for the shots. He was playing good defense, which everyone wants to talk about. Like, bro, I was that wasn't a huge deal for me last year. I wasn't for game recaps like, dang, the defense for Paolo really needs to step up. I didn't give a shit about that. I wanted to see Paolo Banchero scoring 20 points. And like you said, it's troubling. He's been getting to the line, but he's shooting 53% from the line. So need to see that tick up. He did see a 3-point shot go in last game, but I mean, damn, the shooting woes are concerning. Get back to me at game 15, though. You're right, Peach. Let me do a deep exhale.
Too early, but if we have to talk about this again next show, then that's starting to wonder.
Right. And maybe it's too early for this to talk about the offense and the defense overall, but we have a post here. We've used this meme before. It's the two-sided bus post. This is from Awfully Al, at Awfully Al, hashtag Magic Together. On the sunny side is watching the Magic play defense, and on the dark and foreboding side, it's watching the Magic play offense.
Yeah.
And that makes a whole lot of sense. The defensive rating, according to the NBA stats, is 103, second in the league behind the LA Clippers, who we just played last night. The offensive rating is, let's see, I can't even see it. I need to scroll. Do I need to scroll? That's not good. I'm scrolling.
Well, I mean, I like it because part of the reason that the I don't like watching the NBA on a regular basis is because they don't play defense. So at least our team plays defense. So it's like, bravo on that. But honestly, on offense, it's like we're watching the same team we had last year. Like It doesn't really look that different, right?
Yeah.
Like there aren't even any new players in the lineup. I think we're going to touch on that later. So it's kind of like it's Joe Ingles and that's it. It's just running it back the same squad, which, is fine if you were already a multiple win team, playoff team, obviously run it back. And I wanted us to run it back mostly untouched because I think these guys are going to take that next step up.
Right.
But I'm seeing a lot of the same issues we had last year. And that's a little concerning to me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're shooting 30% from three. That was surprising. I thought it would be worse, to be honest with you. We're still, 45% from the floor. It's not great. 69% giggity from the free throw line. Just the shooting woes. Like, how many game recaps did we have last year where we're like, yeah, it was a good game, but they shot 37% from beyond the arc and we shot 29%, so we lost the game. That has come true. I mean, the Clippers game, both teams were ice cold, but we just stayed ice cold. And at the end of the Lakers game, we just couldn't get a shot to fall. And it's troubling, but again, just 4 games in, we'll see how these trends continue. I do like what I'm seeing out of Jalen Suggs. His shot looks real. And the assist percentage that a lot of people want to talk about. The ball is moving more. Coach Mosley has talked about that a lot in the post game. The assist numbers are up, which is heartening because we want to see ball movement. We want to see motion. We're seeing the intelligent cuts, but we're just seeing a lot of guys miss open shots, man. We're seeing guys miss bunnies at the rim. Wendell and Paolo missed some real easy looks last time. So I'm banking on those to start, and I think we can rest our hat on this defense. I do think that is real, even though it's only been 4 games. The how massive our team is, just our size, is overwhelming to teams. So I think that's going to be real. I think we have a top 10 defense here, Peach.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's obviously, well, I mean, I haven't seen everybody's defense, so it's hard for me to compare to all the other teams. But
True.
Clearly that's going to be the spot, like you said, where we hang our hat. But that's what keeps a lot of teams that might not be the most talented player wise in games, right? That's why it's a team game. And that's what I like about our roster, as opposed to a roster that just got a bunch of stars.
Yeah. I mean,
that's called a segue into this next thing about James Harden.
All right. Thank you. I'll take the segue. And here we go. It was some other NBA news, the Sixers are acquiring, well, I guess the big news is the Clippers are acquiring James Harden and PJ Tucker, and they are sending out Marcus Morris, Nick Batum, Robert Covington, KJ Martin, I believe a first-round protected draft pick from the Oklahoma City Thunder in 2026, I want to say, and then 2 second-round picks as well. So you're getting a first and 2 seconds and a bunch of players for James Harden. I just I can't believe anyone would want to give up a first-round pick anymore for James Harden, and I certainly cannot believe that the Clippers wanted to give up a first-round pick for James Harden. I mean, people talk about us being guard-heavy. They've got, and I know, okay, they're forwards technically, but Paul George and Kawhi Leonard handle the ball. They're ball-centric forwards. They play like guards to me. You got those 2 guys on the ball. Russell Westbrook as a ball handler and point guard, and now you're going to add another guard to that and think that is they're going to somehow share the rock and that they're going to coalesce into a unit that is somehow going to take you to a championship. I don't get it. Harden has been a dumpster fire pretty much everywhere he's gone. He played pretty well the first year in Philadelphia, and then he forced his way out. Before that, where he's been so many freaking places, I'm starting to lose track of him. And I love the owner for the Clippers, man. Ballmer, the Microsoft homie, he's down to spend money. He is out there front row getting amped up with the fans about his team. You could tell he lives and breathes this stuff. That's the type of owner that I dream of. If the DeVosses were to sell, I want him to sell to a dude like that or a lady like that. Like someone with money who's passionate, who's willing to put up or shut up, and get guys in the door. I just don't think that this was a good choice for the guy that you want to overextend yourself. I mean, the Clippers can't have any freaking draft picks left for the next 4 or 5 years. They have an aging team, and if this shit doesn't work, James Harden's just gonna and force his way out.
Yeah, it's not I don't love the move, but I think I know what the Clippers are thinking here. They've got a collection of stars that struggles to stay healthy. You got to assume with these 4 on the team that at least 2 will be good to go at all times, which is nice.
Yeah.
So that's something. Yeah. And honestly, I don't think the Clippers really gave up a ton here, honestly. I don't feel like at the end of the day they're going to be super missing a lot of the things they got rid of. So it's kind of low risk and high possible reward for them. James Harden's best days now, it seemed like they're spent in the strip club where he is an all-star, and the ladies of LA strip clubs are more excited about this than Clippers fans probably, because he is going to just be throwing that money all over the place as he's wont to do. And I just don't know about this for the Clippers. I feel like sometimes, you see these super teams built and it just doesn't work because there's not enough shots for everybody. And you've got James is a pretty selfish guy, I feel like, with the ball. He doesn't seem like he's a great teammate with his other dudes. And I just worry. But honestly, I don't find the Clippers to be anybody that I find as a threat. I would never bet money on them to win the NBA championship. Cue them winning the championship in 5 months, right? But they're just there, right? The other team in LA. So they're trying to make noise, and this is how they're doing it right now. You'd rather them do it with wins and a healthy Paul George and just, playing good basketball and a healthy Kawhi. I'd like to watch that, but it never seems like we get it. So a little bit of sideshow. They got a new building there. They're trying to put asses in the seats. Whatever.
Yeah, I suppose you got to do what you got to do. I mean, yeah, that's enough on this. We don't need to spend any more show on James Harden. Screw him. All right, talk to me about this one because I loosely remember this. This is Pat Bev, Orlando Magic HQ, reposting this on their Instagram. It looks like he was on a podcast he's on his own podcast. And what was he saying about the Magic? Because I remember Paolo was asked a question about it.
Well, the guy that was talking to him was basically saying that the Magic have 2 players in the top 50. Now, I think Franz came in at 54, maybe 58, so not quite top 50, but
Yeah.
right around that. And obviously Paolo was in the top 50. So then Pat Bev was like, oh, well, if you got two guys in the top 50, you should be winning games. And it was like, we know because we're Magic fans. We're like, we were winning games.
Yeah.
We won 12 more than we won last year. This is called a process. This is what's going on, but it's going up. It's getting better. And in his mind, he's just like, well, why weren't they in the playoffs then if they had two guys in the top 50? And it's like, there's not that many teams in the NBA, right? Like every team's going to have at least one guy in the top 50 probably, right?
Yeah.
Statistically.
Yeah.
And then it's not that crazy to think you'd have two with the amount of teams in the league.
Yeah. Summer tanking. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's like, some teams got to lose too, right? Like, it's just a weird take from him. I don't know why he felt like he needed to do it, but I guess that was his hot take of the week or whatever. And then Paulo responded in a very respectful way, basically just saying, we'll see you out there. And I think that he's understanding that, like, he's the kind of superstar that's easy to get behind because he's not out there, getting excited every time he hits a 3-pointer or a big dunk. He's not showy. He's just getting stuff done. And he's saying, look, we'll see this guy when we play him, and he'll know who we are. And it's like, he even said, he's like, he knows who we are.
Yeah.
Like, so I think he realized that he probably is just going for something viral here, trying to hit that low hanging fruit, because the Orlando Magic are still not in the global conversation. When people are talking about the NBA, you go to your average NBA podcast, the Magic might not come up still. So like, he's thinking he can just take this swing and no one's going to call him on it, but we're here. And we ain't having it, Pat Bev. I love me some Pat Bev, but he just sometimes has weird takes for weird takes. And look, I get it. You're a podcast. You got to start some stuff once in a while to be interesting. You need to make some shorts. I get it. But in this case, Pat Bev, you are wrong, and you will be proven wrong. I would think Paulo will have a big game when they play.
Ooh, yeah. Just that's bulletin board material. Maybe that's what Paulo needs. A little bit of bulletin board material. Mm-hmm. Let the hate motivate, Paulo. Let the hate make you great.
Let it flow through you.
Yeah, I don't know why he's talking all this gas for. Like, wasn't he on the Bulls last year and they didn't make the playoffs? So what's going on, Pat Bev? And I had to
Thanks
look
to
up
us, by the way, because we traded him there.
Yeah, I know. I had to look up what team he's on. He's on the 76ers, so he's going to be playing with Marcus Morris and Robert Covington now. And but they're not going to do anything.
It's a great move for Philly, by the way. We didn't talk about that, but I think they're the winners of the deal. They got rid of James and they added pieces.
And they got a first-round pick. They got some capital that they can use to put something next to. I think that's an in-between move for them. And maybe Pat Bev will be on the way out, because I don't think he's always as big of a factor as he thinks he is. So we'll see just how big of a factor you are, Mr. Bev.
You know who is a big factor? Dwight Howard.
Yes. Yeah, and he's been factoring large into some small places. He's come into the news because he has a litigation going on where a guy is claiming that he was assaulted by Dwight Howard. And to Dwight Howard's credit, he's like, screw that. I'm fighting this. He knows that this is going to bring his personal and sexual life into the limelight, and I think maybe that's what this gentleman was planning on. I'm not taking sides. I'm not saying what did or did not happen, but it just looks a little suspect because this is like a year later after the interaction that he had with Dwight Howard. It just seems odd to me, and I don't know. I'm skeptical. But we'll let it play out in the legal system. But I respect the hell out of Dwight Howard for saying, no, we're gonna do this, and I don't care what goes on. And when people ask him about it, he says, where I lay my wood is my business. And I think we all know where he lays the wood. I can't. It might be that's a big man. Like, that's a big man. My butthole is small. Like, I don't think that's a big, I can't imagine what someone would have to go through. Now, I don't want to be stereotypical. I'm not trying to say just because he's a big man, he has a big unit. That's not fair. All right, because that's a pressure that people put on us. All right, we got to be okay with whatever our penis size is. Okay, and maybe I'm making an assumption here, and maybe this has gone off the rails. All right, I didn't think I was gonna have a penis pedestal right now, but I think it's okay. No matter your size or your shape, whatever it is, hey, we all got one. But I can't imagine that you don't need something like maybe some numbing cream or something when Dwight Howard's back there. Or maybe he's not. Maybe he's on the bottom. Maybe he likes his posterior to be tickled. I don't know. Peach, start talking so I can stop.
I was thinking that he was talking about whether he's making an indoor or outdoor fireplace, but I guess you took the woods in a different direction. So, but yeah, no, I think it's interesting of Dwight to be able to take that and be stand up for himself, even though he knows that it might paint him in a different kind of light. But I think I don't know much about Dwight. He's always seemed like a kind of a weird cat, and if you were trying to hide a secret like that, then that would be difficult and could make you seem weird and odd. But he's always seemed like a fun-loving dude and doing his thing. So I mean, hey man, whatever it is, wherever that wood that you're laying is, it is your business, and I don't want to get involved in his business. I just want him to be happy, and hopefully this issue can get solved positively. That's all I wish for him.
Yeah, I do. And to wrap it up on a slightly more serious note, I do respect that Dwight Howard is now, even though he's not speaking publicly about his sexuality, he knows that it's clearly out there. And so he himself is out there as, with his sexuality, whether it's whatever it is, it's against the norm. And that's not something that's easy as a man to talk about. That's not, especially not easy in the sports arena to talk about. So I think, kudos to him for that. I hope whatever is going on legally, everyone is whole and everyone was okay. But yeah, that's all we have. Do you have any more rants, any more things that you want to get off your chest or onto your chest, ladies and gentlemen, in the comments? You can put it down there.
Where you lay your comment is your business.
Okay, let's that was Magic adjacent. One of our legends, according to Magic player history, the best Orlando Magic of all time. So it was in the arena of the Magic. Let's now bring it a little bit closer to home with the new City Edition jerseys. Are these the City Edition jerseys? I get it confused. We got the City Edition, then we have like the throwback. These are the City Edition. And it's the Kingdom on the Rise. We see Paolo and Franz rocking these, the navy blue, black, and silver, Orlando with the star in the middle. How you feeling about these, Peach? I know you are quite the jersey juggernaut, the connoisseur, if you will. How do these land for you, sir?
They land right in a pile of trash. These are so bad that, like, even this picture, they couldn't even get Franz and Paulo to smile. They look disappointed to be in it. That one for Paulo is a schmedium. And it's just dark blue and black do not go together. I don't know how many times we have to point this out. Those are two opposing things, right? Like, if you're dressing up nice, right, you got dark blue on, you go with the brown belt. You can't wear a black belt there, right? You got to make a choice.
Yeah.
You cannot put those two things together. And they're doing this again, where last year it was like this weirder, darker blue, and now it's this dark blue again, and it seems like it's a little brighter, but like, hey, bro, make it our color.
Our
right?
colors.
Our color. You make this jersey our color. All right, whatever. Yeah. I'm not offended. But what is this color scheme? It's not connected to the city of Orlando for a City Edition jersey. I get the Kingdom thing. I'm on board with that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that idea. But this branding around it, it's not I didn't like them last year. Wouldn't buy one. Same for this year. I think those are trash. Like, especially when you've laid out that throwback jersey we have, which is nice, very nice.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful jersey. If you've got money to spend on a jersey this year, go that way instead of this way. And hell, our regular everyday jerseys, the black ones or even the white ones, are better than these things. Yeah. So, like, please send the message that there's I love jerseys, And I like it when teams take a stab at making a new jersey, but a lot of them stink lately. A lot of the NBA team ones this year stink. We need to cut the shit. So people need to stop buying them, right? I can't believe I'm going to stand here and tell people to not buy jerseys, but don't buy these. Don't make them feel like this is okay and what they're doing is right. People didn't like the orange jerseys. I was okay with the last set of them, but I didn't like the first few either. Yep. If you really didn't like them, you got to put your foot down and say, I'm not going to take it anymore. Right. And if we don't do it, then there's going to be another Kingdom jersey next year, and some sort of dark blue bullshit's going to roll out, and they're going to be like, check it out, everybody. Oh, we get a court to match. And it's like, okay, but who's that for, man? Who?
Yeah.
It's not for me. It shouldn't be for you. Anyone who's in those comments saying they like it is on the Orlando Magic payroll or thinks they're getting a free one from the team. And I won't have any other opinion on it because you're lying if you say you like it. But what do you think? I don't know. Maybe you're going to prove me wrong.
I like it. I love it. No, I don't. I'm just kidding.
It looks, I mean, you might like it because it looks a lot like a Dallas Cowboys basketball jersey to me.
Yeah. I am a Cowboys fan, so from that perspective, I guess I could like it. If I'm going to say the redeeming factors, they at least have the star as the A, which is a great starting point for any Magic jersey. I like the number font a lot more with this. It's kind of this like inside-out traced 3D almost looking thing. But I don't like this font. This font reminds me of New Orleans. I don't understand the association with this font. Whenever I see that type of font, I immediately think New Orleans. And I think that's what a lot of people, they have this same font on their regular jerseys. So I don't understand why we're using it. And I hate the chainmail thing. I think it's still on there. It's in between. It's very light, but I still think it's in there. And it looks like a chain link fence. It doesn't look like chainmail. I like the slogan of Kingdom on the Rise. There's probably a cooler way to bring it into the jersey. I'm not 100% on that, how you do that exactly, but I just don't like this. I could live with this if it was our royal blue color. I'd be down. I would get one probably. Even with the chainmail, I could think about it.
Okay. I mean, I like the concept of the chainmail. It's just they're not getting there because, like you said, it looks like a fence. Like it's just not. Well, you got to go tell your artist to make chainmail instead of fence. Like just do it better. and if you're gonna go with this whole Kingdom thing, right?
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah. What about a silver jersey? What about that? That gray, like a knight's armor, right? That's actually one of our colors through the star. In the gray and the silver. Why not go with that when we have never had one of those, right? Like
we had that gray short sleeve jersey.
Right. That was terrible.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the short sleeves.
Right.
But like, why not run one of those? If you go the gray and the chainmail and you make it look kind of like a knight's armor or something like that, hey, that's fulfilling your narrative that you're creating for the Rise of the Kingdom. And it looks good and it's consistent with team color scheme. I just don't know. What are we doing here?
Yeah. Can we please get it together? All right. Last one. You love the NBA on TNT, and I must confess that I'm a little ignorant. I don't watch that often. You love that crew, and Charles Barkley was asking some pointed questions to the commissioner, Adam Silver, recently. This is one of them. He asked them pointedly about the domestic assault and players with domestic assault, and then he asked them, he brought up this point, if you're making $30, $40, $50 million to play basketball 4 days a week, man, if you can play, shut the hell up and play. Talking about the resting situation. I mean, I honestly think, though, Peace, I think this is a little overstated. I think this is a little overstated how much like players have, number one, say in the decision, and the attitude that like they don't want to play, or they're saying I'm not playing today because I'm not feeling any good. I really don't think the players have, I don't think they have jack to do with it, if I'm being 100% honest. And I think this narrative from Charles and others is a little played out. I don't think that players are really making the decision to do so. You know, maybe once in a while, LeBron James around the All-Star break, he takes an early vacation, but I don't know. I don't see it happening as often as to warrant how big this issue is around the league.
it Chuck is coming from it from the old school when I started watching basketball and when I started watching most sports for that matter, where
Right.
it's like, is your player on your team? Check. Yes. Is he one of the best players on your team? Check. Okay. Is he hurt? No. Okay. Then should be in game.
Yes.
Yes. Always. Always. Those are always the things that go together. And so it's amazing that they don't, because they're trying to like watch the wear and tear. Like we watched guys have legendary careers in the NBA where they did play every game. Sometimes maybe when they shouldn't have, and they were actually hurt and should have sat out, but they had grit. They had heart. They wanted to work harder. Maybe it's a generational thing as the younger generations want to work less and get things handed to them. And it's just sort of like, it's not a great look. I like the people who are in the lineup. I have to disagree with you. I think that there are I think the players can go and say, no, I'm playing. I'm good to go. Like, I don't want to sit, but they're not. That may not hold true for all players of the NBA. So please don't think that I think all players can make that call. But I think there are certain players who do. We've seen Franz Wagner play a ton for us in games that never mattered. And I know that's because he wants to play. I'm sure there are games they would have held him out of because we held people out for many years, whether they needed it or not. In fact, we're doing it again this year, apparently. And
do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about that?
I do. He's one of those guys that's like this. Are you ready to go? Did you have a full off season? Because that's all I heard about is how he's healthy and he's got a blah, blah, blah. And you're not playing even 20 minutes a game.
Right.
He's not a starter. He's not logging huge minutes. You're a backup off the bench.
Yeah.
And you're skipping a game.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Right. And I usually don't use the F word on the show here, but I'm mad about it. Like you're trying to get me back into this guy and you're already pulling him back out for no reason, apparently. So that I'm with Chuck. I just feel like if you're healthy and you really care about this game and you want to play, then you go out there. And I think it's not good for the NBA when they have all those players who are in and out of the lineup because people pay. Look, I've seen the prices of tickets now. We'll talk about it more later. Yeah. But like, you know, when the Mavs are playing somebody with a star on the team, those prices, tickets, they go way up.
Right.
And if that guy doesn't play, you still paid that. You don't get that refund.
Right.
So like, you know, I get that, you know, guys can be hurt and, you know, that's always a risk you take when you're buying a ticket. But hey, man, you know, when the Clippers come to town with this new foursome, if only one of them was playing, you'd feel pretty gypped. Right. And I mean, that's happened too much over the last, 5 to 10 years in the NBA. And it gets disappointing. And it's like, well, you've got a long 82 game season. You expect us to watch it. And these guys aren't even playing half the time. So even a third of the time they're not playing, which is too much. If you're healthy and you're good, you play. Yeah. I just don't get it. So I'm with Chuck on that, but I love the way he was balls out and asked the commissioner whatever he wanted to say. Obviously, he's got a little bit of immunity there because he's Charles Barkley. What are they going to do? Get rid of him? But he did it in a respectful way. He wasn't like, he just wanted to know things, and he asked the questions. And to be fair, the commissioner answered them. So,
yeah, it's interesting because you talked about the generational thing too, and it's interesting to me. The generational part of it is, I don't go to a Magic game to see necessarily a particular player. I guess if, maybe if in the future we're resting like Paolo on back-to-backs, if we were doing stuff like that, I would be pissed. I go for the team though. I think more and more though, when I talk to my students, they're looking at players. So you asked the question, if I went to a game, late Clippers versus Magic, and two of those four quote-unquote stars weren't playing, I'd be fucking pumped because I'd be like, oh, all right, hopefully this can be an easier win for us. I wouldn't be like, oh, man, I wanted to see James Harden. But I think the newer generation of kids, it's really stars-based, and it's a stars-based league. So I think there are a lot of people out there that are buying tickets because they want to go see the stars. So your point is well taken. More, if we want to parlay this into a little bit of Jonathan Isaac getting rest on the back-to-backs after playing, what was it, like a whopping 10 minutes? I don't necessarily put the blame on him, like I don't necessarily put the blame on players for this situation, but I am a little pissed off that all we heard in the offseason was that J.I. was healthy. All signs go. All lights green. He's going to go. He's going to do it. And we're still seeing these minutes restrictions. We're still seeing him rest on back-to-backs. And I think back to a point that you've made in the past. It's like at some point, if you got that dog mentality and you love basketball and you really want to be in the game, you got to say enough is enough and say, no, fuck this. I'm playing. I'm getting on the court. And how much are we going to just continue to slow play this? We've done that in the past. It hasn't happened. At some point, Jonathan Isaac is either going to be able to play basketball or he is not. All right. He's not a valuable player playing 8 minutes a game. I mean, he does some great things in those 8 minutes, but I'd rather have another player who is playing more minutes and can really get into the flow of the game and we can depend on, instead of having a guy who is that. Now, hopefully he ramps up, and again, not necessarily his fault, but all the communications we heard were, hey, no, I haven't heard about any minutes restrictions. I'm good to go. Okay. From the team, it was like, yep, he's good to go. But apparently not. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't come out and say that a guy is green lighted all the way, ready to go, and then hold them out on something. You go ahead and if you want to continue to lie to us, make up another lie and say, oh, he tweaked his ankle or something like that. Just do that, I guess. But like, this is where my question has always come in, where it's like, I do believe that certain players can just say, no, I'm fine. I want to play. Yeah. And I feel like he's been with this team long enough, held out more than enough. To the point where if he feels like he can play, he should go to them and be like, yo, I can play.
Right.
Let me play. Let me play. You can't keep me in the cage anymore.
Right.
I'm done. I want to play. So it makes me feel like he's not saying that. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong, but that's the vibe I get, because you can't tell me that they would tell him he can't play if he's good to go with all the games he's already missed. Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
And when you hold that against Franz Wagner, like you said, who we see, like, you're like, damn, he rolled his ankle bad. And then like the next game he's in. Yeah. And you're like, exactly. Okay. I guess he's just the man. Maybe that's not fair. Franz is he's the Wonder Kid. We can't hold everybody to the same standard. All right, let's now go into a game we have not played in a while. Fact or fiction? We have 3 statements, and we must say whether they are fact or they are fiction. So, Peesh, we will get it started with, this statement here. The start to the season has been a disappointment, Peesh. 4 games, we just dropped 2 heartbreaking ones. It's been ugly. Has this been a disappointment for you, sir?
Nope. Fiction. 4 games, 2-2, 500 basketball.
Yeah. Maybe we should have. Yeah, because I have the same answer. It's fiction. Yeah, we wanted a 500 team, right? At the beginning of the year, we're like, yeah, this team could be 500. So
yeah, 500 is a jump for our squad still. Yeah. So, and that's right around where you're talking about playoffs, play in, whatever. Do I love the way that it went down? All right, maybe not, but to have 4 games and to have this West Coast road trip at the beginning of the season before your team's fully gelled, maybe together, that's a lot tougher. So I'm not great. I'm grading on a little bit of a scale, but I'm still good with 2-2. Right.
Yeah. No, when you look big picture, this is exactly where we wanted to. Well, maybe not exactly where we want it to be, but end of the year, I'm predicting, 42-40, something like that. So we're well on pace, especially if we get a win against the Jazz. It's all looking good. Now, the way in which these losses have been happening, which you mentioned, is a little alarming, maybe disappointing. I'm a little bit disappointed in what I've seen from Paolo Banchero. I'm, a little bit disappointed, even less so, but in what I've seen from Franz Wagner. I expected these guys to really take some serious leaps and be dominating games a little bit more than we've seen. So from that respect, I understand why we have quite a bit of hyperbole out there in the Orlando Magic community and quite a bit of hand-wringing over these last 2 losses. A lot of people pulling their hair out and woe is me and what's going on. But let's practice patience. We don't need to change it up just yet.
Yeah.
Another thing that maybe has been a little disappointing for some is the very few glances that we've had at the rookies. So the next statement is, it's concerning that the rookies have not played legit minutes. I think this is fact for me. I'm going to go out and say it. I said it at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to stick to it. I don't see the runway, as Jeff Weltman likes to say, for these players, particularly Anthony Black. We are talking about, and we are frustrated by, the continued lack of shooting on our team. Anthony Black is a dynamic defender, amazing athlete, really smart, positionally aware, just fantastic in that respect. Handles the ball very well, huge guard, great to have. If you don't already have Markelle Fultz, who brings a lot of those same facets to the game, it's concerning to me that he's not going to be getting game minutes. I don't know, where does that come from? And same thing with Jet Howard. What exactly is his runway or path to success? Joe Ingles has been playing over him. That was our big free agent pickup. Gary Harris is still in the lineup. Those guys are established. They're veterans. Even a guy like Caleb Houston is maybe coming off the bench prior to Jet Howard. So where exactly is the runway for these guys? Are we going to see him at all this year? I think that is a concern for me. I think it is. I mean, you can't pick two guys that high in the draft and just have them disappear. So I think that's right now a fact for me, Peach. What about you, sir?
I agree with everything that you just said, but I'm going to say fiction, because right now what I'm seeing a team that's trying to win, right? We're trying to put the best guys out there and get things done. Now, for the last couple of seasons, we've seen, guys getting a lot of run to look at them, to see what they've got to do. We don't have those minutes right now because we're trying to win. So you're seeing Gary Harris play and you're seeing Joe Ingles play. And if their play wasn't good, then I think maybe you'd see those guys get a little bit more time. But their play has been good. Gary Harris has been great, I would argue.
Yeah.
So that's not there right now. And I think we're trying to establish ourselves as a team that's going to compete for stuff. So we're going with the veterans that can get things done. These guys they're raw, man. They're raw meat, and they could be, they need to be
seasoned.
steak,
They need to be tenderized.
Or they could end up being a minute steak, or like some ground beef in a Taco Bell taco, or they could end up being something nice at one of the high-end steakhouses. But they have plenty of time to sit there, watch the game. I remember when Jalen Suggs was injured in his rookie year.
Yes.
And how much headier a player he was after, when he came back, from all the time he sat on the bench watching. So I don't think them sitting on the bench is going to be bad for them. I think they're going to still get stuff out of it. They're young, they're hungry, they're going to get a chance at some point, and they'll be there. Right now, they're kind of seeing how things are done. And at some point, when there's holes, maybe then Mose will start reaching down the bench and letting them get some run. So it's early yet. I get the concern. I do, because normally when you draft two guys that high, you'd like to think, well, one's in the starting lineup, right? Or, at least one's coming off the bench. Nope. But it is what it is. These guys are going to have time to mix in at some point if, like, a Joe Ingles isn't playing well, or Gary Harris tweaks an ankle or something like that. I mean, there's always going to be chances for these guys to get in there, but right now they're just seeing the NBA for the first time. They're still young and seeing this from the they're still learning all the ins and outs of the game. So I'm cool with it. It's not super concerning yet. I think if they continue to only get like 3 minutes or 5 minutes here, just the garbage time all season, then I'd be concerned. But there's plenty of time for these guys to mix in as we go forward. But I like that the Magic is saying, look, we're going to play our guys and we're going to try to win games, and we're going to put the best team on the court that we have right now. And that's what we're seeing.
Winning time, baby. Winning time. Okay. Last fact or fiction, Peach. This one, the rotations should be changed. The reason we have this one on here is there's been a lot of hullabaloo about Jalen Suggs, about a guy we just mentioned, Joe Ingles, And I've seen on Magic Twitter already people calling for Jalen Suggs to be out of the starting lineup. Gary Harris is playing so well. He needs to be in the starting lineup. Don't we need that shooting and that spacing there? Yes, I agree. But this is fiction, ladies and gentlemen. We have 4 games of data right now. We need to see this out for at least 15 to 20 games to see what we have and to let Coach Mosley see what these rotations can grow into. I really love what Jalen Suggs has brought. I honestly think he's probably been my best player on the starting lineup. I know he, missed the final shot the other night, and maybe you thought he was too aggressive in going to the hole, but he's at least taking the shots. Like, I would love to see some more of that out of Paolo Banchero. Jalen Suggs is the only guy out there, and maybe Markelle Fultz at times, that doesn't look scared. Like, he's going for it, balls to the wall as you expect him to do. And he is being disruptive as all get out. Next time, I'll bring a bunch of statistics to bore the shit out of you, Peach. Don't worry. I don't have them right now. It's just the good old eye test, which I know you love. But, I mean, he's getting it everywhere, man. He's getting rebounds that he shouldn't. Stripped Anthony Davis of the ball to give us another possession and another shot at winning that game last night or a couple nights ago. Against the Clippers, they're all melding together. This might have been against the Lakers. No, this was against the Lakers. He goes in to maybe not the great idea. Maybe should have kicked it to an open shot. He goes in, tries to get the layup, tries to get the foul, doesn't get it, but comes down with the board and then goes out to the three-point line to try to get another shot. I love a guy that's trying to make winning plays, and I think Jalen Suggs is doing that. He's been so disruptive on the defensive side of the ball. His shot is looking much better. It's not maybe where it needs to be. And if you're comparing him to Gary Harris, who has been playing well and had an amazing game against the Lakers, which is on fuego. But I think this is Jalen Suggs' time. We need to stick with him. He brings a much more disruption than Gary does, even though Gary's a very good defender. So I think we stay put with the rotations. And if you want to talk about Joe Ingles, I think he needs to get his legs under him a little bit. He came back from the ACL in the middle of last year, I believe, last season. I don't think he had a full season last year. So it normally takes a year of play to fully come back from that ACL. He should be getting there, about halfway through this season. So I think there's still a little bit of acclimation happening with Joe Ingles, but I really like what he brings in terms of leadership on the floor. I see him constantly communicating with people. If the play doesn't go our way, he's bringing guys together in the huddle. He is a very good distributor. He's made some nice passes. We haven't seen as much shooting from Joe Ingles as I'd like. I thought he was a 40% three-point shooter. Can he get some more shots, please? Can we get him some more shots, please? But let's hold pat. Let's stay pat. The only thing, okay, this is my big thing, Peach. Give me some freaking Goga minutes, please. I like Moritz Wagner, but I'm sick of all these teams just offensive rebounding all over us. I really would like a center who can rebound the ball. Wendell Carter Jr., great defender, very solid foundation. I took his over in rebounds, 8.5 rebounds and a parlay the other night. The man gets 8 rebounds from a center. He played 30-some plus minutes. Come on, man. You're killing me out here, Wendell. Peach, I cede the floor to you, sir. Is this fact or fiction?
I think it's fiction. It's 4 games, right? So you got to see what's working and what's not. And I think I'm going to use sort of the point I just made about the rookies, but this is a moment where we're taking a look at Jalen Suggs as the starter, right?
Yeah.
That is one of the things we're sampling right now. Otherwise, we're pretty much just running out the same team with a side of Joe Ingles. So the one thing we are testing that's new is Jalen Suggs as a starter. Yeah. Let's see what he's got. I want a bigger sample than 4 games. So let's hold off on that. Now, look, if tomorrow we were playing a game 7 for the NBA championship, okay, maybe I'm looking at Gary Harris for some more minutes tonight. But that's not the case. This is game 5 of the 82-game NBA season. So let's have a bigger look at Jalen Suggs. It's one of the only new things going on right now. Mm-hmm. So let's just let that play out. Mose, you've seen him the last couple of years. He likes to find a way to work his rotation, and he needs a bigger sample size too, I can tell. It probably will change. I don't think it needs to change right now. Not today.
Yeah, not today. Not today. I mean, we've only seen the 4 games, and I've barely seen the last 2, man. These West Coast games are freaking killing me, man. I'm out here like watching them in the morning when I'm at work, and I'm not getting any work done. It's not good. It's not good. It's hurting the children. Can we stop this? Can we stop this? Can we come back east? It's hurting the children, for God's sakes. All right. Okay, we're about to go into our large ending, so don't go anywhere. But I do want to give one final shout-out to our all-star and second cousin supporters over on the Patreon. Magic Player History, Bolby the Dawn, Paulo and Franz's Warmth, Andy, Dylan Holden, Drum, Rafael Perez, Breadhead, Matthew Bell, Dan Young, Gloria and Damien, Connor, and Yachty. And again, if you want to buy us a beer, $5 a month, it's going to go to all the expenses we have. Again, we have about, just under $100 a month of expenses, and then we've got a bunch of stuff coming up. We're going to be announcing Court Cousins Night again coming up, which we always do a bunch of giveaways and exciting things for. Is that the Magic photo when they were signing the guy with their draft board in the background piece? Is that what's happening right now? Do you have Court Cousins Night on back
a little
there?
bit? If you want to hit the Zoom, you can find it.
Oh. Well, God, don't do it. But yeah, we're scaling back our interactions on the Patreon. We're not going to be doing the video hangs anymore for now, but I'm going to still try to get some content up there. I asked some questions about getting some suggestions for things to include in the show, that type of stuff. It's going to be a little bit lower engagement, but we still really appreciate the help if you can to spread this Orlando Magic content. And if you can, just like and subscribe and all that jazz. So, Peach?
All that Utah Jazz?
Oh, we need to get all up in that Utah Jazz. I will be concerned, and maybe we'll have to go back to that disappointment factor fiction. If we lose this Jazz game, my alarm bells are going to start warming up, maybe. No, that's a lie. That's too much, Kyle. All right, Peach. You got the belt? You got the button ready?
Yeah, hang on. Where'd I put it? Oh, it's up here.
Okay, push that button. There it goes. Okay, Peach, we just passed Halloween. This is the Halloween spooky episode. Kyle's in a wizard stoom. Did you stoom? Did you wear a costume?
I did stoom for a little while at work. We had a big thing where everybody decorated their areas of the offices and kids came in. I didn't get to participate because it was over so fast, but I did have a stoom at work. I had my hot dog outfit that I wore, and then I put my Rangers hat on, and I was a ballpark Frank.
Perfect.
So whatever.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I know you're a big stoom guy.
Yes, love a stoom.
What is the best one that you've put on? By the way, stoom, love that shortened for content.
Yeah, thank you.
I think this is the first time I'm using it, and I'm on board. So.
It feels good when it hits your lips. Man. Yeah, it feels good. I really slayed when I was a child. Like as a child, I didn't just do the stoom; I was the stoom. So, I went as a mime, which was amazing because I wouldn't say shit and I would just be like, and I'm just a fucking kid out here. And a go-to was just like nerd Urkel. I was, big into what's the
Family Matters.
Family Matters, thank you, sir. So I would just rock the Urkel suspenders, big old glasses. I had this corny little boombox I would pull around and be like, hey, did I do that? I need some candy. I would just... As a kid, I was really in the part, and so I think I'd have to go with my best performance was probably mime. I said nothing all night. My parents probably loved it. They're like, damn, this gets the kid to shut up.
How did you mime trick or treat? What do you do there? Are you holding a sign? What's the story?
Yeah, give me...
Okay.
Give me
Hey, if you got candy, then it might be one of the best performances of all time.
I've been a little jealous, Peach. You've been going to some live sporting events, a lot of hockey I'm seeing. I saw some baseball in there. So I want to know, what was the best live sporting event you've been to recently, sir?
Well, I've really mostly just been to hockey. Pops and I, on his last night here, we went to the watch party for Game 7 of the ALCS in the Ranger Stadium, which was a really cool experience, but we weren't like actually at the game. But it was it was a cool thing to be a part of because the Rangers won. Everybody's very celebratory, and it was a cool way for my dad to see the stadium because he'll never come here during the summertime to see a Rangers game. So this was it. So, but I think opening night for the Stars was pretty special. It was pretty fun to. It was my first game of the season. As I'm in now. Like I'm well weaved in. Last year when I got here during the playoffs, I didn't know a lot of people's names within that. Now I know everybody. Like they shoot the bench, and I'm like, I know that guy, and I know this guy, and I know the guys making the ice, and it's like, I feel more integrated with it. So I think that was cool. And Pops was here, so that made it a fun experience. We had some really good tickets too. We got the hook up, and we were down a little lower than usual. So that was a good time. I'm gonna go with that one.
Hell
but
yeah.
I didn't get to game 1 or 2 of the World Series, and if this 1-0 score holds up right now in the 7th, I may not get a chance to go to a World Series game here because the ticket prices are ranging from $2,000 to $1,500 depending on which stadium you're in, and even the standing rooms were coming in at $373 on the low end. Standing rooms. Standing room in Texas is pretty solid, but that's a lot for a World Series game, especially when it's not like your favorite team. Like it's tough.
Right.
Tough to sell out. What is the biggest ticket price you've ever paid? Because I know you're bougie about where you sit.
I think the biggest price I've paid, not crazy, man. I haven't done anything crazy, but I did take advantage of when the 76ers were in their rebuild. I happened to be in Philadelphia, and I was just online looking at the tickets, and I was like, oh shit, I can sit like behind the bench right now for a couple $100. I think it was like just over $200, but I was 4 rows from the court, and I couldn't pass it up. So I think that is the craziest I've paid for a ticket. I did drop like $400 and something for a Broadway show coming up for 2 tickets. So if we're including that, yeah, it's around the 210 to 250 range. Yeah.
Okay.
I won't go higher. Higher than that is crazy. I do want to sit courtside at some point, but damn, I don't know. We're gonna see.
Okay. It's good to know where the limit is.
Okay, so you dressed up as a hot dog, but
Yep.
Peesh, you've been in your apartment for how long now? Has it been? How long has it been? 6 months?
It's been about 5.5 months.
5.5. Have you cooked yet?
Like almost every day.
Really?
I cook all the time.
Who is this person, ladies and gentlemen? This is not my cousin. I think in the year that we lived together, I saw you cook. I can't think of it, actually. I don't know if I saw you cook.
The only times I really cooked was when you guys were gone.
Okay. All right. So you just need to be. Do you cook in the nude? Is that why I never saw you? You need to be in your
Well,
element.
I have done that, but but that's dangerous. So you gotta
Yeah.
watch out. That stove is like right at crotch height for me. It's not worth the risk. But no, I just like to. A lot of times when I do cook, it is at an oddball hour.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make noise. Some of that is going on there, but I didn't really keep a lot of grocery at your house either.
No.
Like that was, but this is more of me like saving money, being thrifty. You know, I always have a carton of eggs in there. That's one of my go-tos. You know, I'm not cooking anything fancy here.
Right.
There's
Right. No,
definitely
yeah.
better meals going on over at your house for sure. But, you know, cooking things and making myself things pretty regularly. Although I will say, because we talked about it last show, and it was like the title of the show, my toaster was not in the things that my dad brought me. So I still do not have a toaster, but I'm going to go get one this weekend.
I don't know where that is, man. I don't see a
neither, man.
toaster in the house. I heard about that, though, and I knew you were just so forlorn. I felt so badly with that when my uncle, your father, told me that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Hey, last up,
Yeah.
I've always come on this show
Yeah.
with everybody. I'm totally honest at all times, right?
Yeah.
That's who I am. That's what I do. Couldn't do anything different.
Yeah.
I am going to ask you this question, knowing that I'm exposing myself here.
Right.
How many quarters of Orlando Magic basketball have I watched this season?
It's low, ladies and gentlemen. It's low. I think
Four games, 16 total. We're not including the preseason. We already had that rant.
I think you've been so busy with the beginning of hockey season and stuff, and your schedule's been crazy. I think you've seen 1 game of action, Maybe spread out. I don't know, but I'm going to say 4 quarters.
Okay. That's incorrect.
Oh, is it too high or too low?
It's actually lower. But I still watched enough videos and read some articles, and I would check the box score every day. Actually, thanks to the guys over at Orlando Magic HQ for keeping me up to date on some stuff. Just trying to get it in small doses when I can, but haven't had time to sit and watch a full game yet.
Wow.
I started one of the games the other night and fell asleep during it. So I think you can probably count 1 quarter, but it's debatable.
And I ask myself this question once an episode, it seems. What am I doing? How I have an Orlando Magic podcast with this man, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't think you're diehard enough, if you don't think you're an insider enough, you too can start your own Orlando Magic podcast.
Hey, I'm just saying, you didn't have any idea until we got to this part of the show that was the case. And yet still I knew enough to get through. And did it give me a little anxiety this week? It sure did. But trying to find a way to wedge watching these games in, I want to enjoy it when I watch the game. I don't want to force it in. And I did try to force it in the other night and fell asleep during it and was like, you know what? Go get some rest, big dog.
Yeah.
And hey, we still brought the energy for the show and I got it done. And I'm going to do better in the future. This I promise to you.
I think you're in a similar boat to many of us, Peesh. We've been having to find weird hours to force these games in, whether you're watching them, if you're crazy and you've been staying up late and ruining your week, or if you're like me, been watching it in the morning, just in between doing other shit. I have also not had that nice, I'm going to sit down and watch my favorite basketball team play right now, and I'm excited. I haven't had that really since game 1, so I'm looking forward to us getting off this West Coast nonsense and getting back east. And we'll be back east by the time we're recording episode 56. Peesh, I love you. It's good to see you, man. Thank you, Second Cousins, for watching out there. We will see you next time. Peace out, everybody.
Thanks for coming. Go Rangers.